Let me ask you about education, because you alluded to that a moment ago. What's Freedom Party's position on education, public education as we know it today? Would you leave it alone?
Well, we certainly wouldn't shut down the schools, no, but we want to give people choice. Right now, you're in a situation where if you have a preference for example, a Catholic school, you can go to a Catholic school. I benefited from a separate school education myself. But the franchise needs to be opened up. I mean, when you want to take your child to a Montessori school, or to another religious school, or to a school that teaches, for example, music as part of the curriculum, you are now faced with not only paying for the tuition at that school, but having to also pay for the public school system. It's actually a penalty built into the system to discourage you from using any form of education other than that set out by the government. And we think that's wrong. We think that the proper way to do this is for parents to pay their education dollar directly to the school of their choice, not first to the government, not through 1,600 middlemen and bureaucrats, and then whatever's left goes to the school where there's no money left to buy books. We think you take the full dollar, you give it directly to the school, and you pick the school, take the school of your choice. For those people who then can't pay for the school of their choice, there is, of course, the reference back to the government. Government should be there to make sure that nobody goes without an education.
What about the argument that what we're looking, or what we're in danger of if we do that is the further splintering of our society? That one of the things that tends to hold this multicultural society together has been a common educational experience, that we take people from all different cultures from around the world and take their kids and we put them all into this same educational experience, which may not be an entirely benign experience, it may not be a good one, it may not even be a very effective education experience, depending on who you talk to, but at least it's a shared experience. And there are people who say, yes, we understand the problems of a public system, and you have to pay more if you don't like it and you have to go somewhere else. We understand all that, but at the same time we're nervous about ending up with 86 different kinds of schools that we're not sure what's going on in those schools either. We're not sure what those people are being taught in there. Are they being taught values that are going to work for the benefit of society as a whole?
I think the real question is, are they being taught the values that their parents want the children to be taught? If the child is not being given the proper education, if the child is growing up with improper feelings towards other people, the parents should be sensitive to that. It'll obviously express itself in the home, and the child will probably be then sent to a better school. The parent will have the power to do that, of course, because they'll have the power not to pay that school any longer. That's the kind of power we want to give parents, the power to say, no, I don't have to send my child to that school any longer. I can get my child out of that perhaps dangerous school. I can get my child out of that school that's teaching them that this is not Merry Christmas, but Merry season day. I don't think it's as simple as saying, if my kid goes to this school where he learns a little bit more about music than in the curriculums at the other school, that my kid's going to be a bad kid, and that we have to rely on the state to give the morality of Dalton McGuinty has to be poured into them, or else we're all going to go to heck in a handbasket. I really don't think that's the right approach. Certainly socialization is important, but that's what teams are for. That's what churches are for. That's what friends are for. That's what families are for. That's what parents are for.
The Freedom Party would also shake up the education system.
We think that the better system is to allow every parent the freedom to pay the school of their choice, public or private, directly.
Parents would pay for their children's education from their own pockets, not through a tax system. And for parents who can't afford to pay, McKeever says the government should provide them with the money they need.
What do you mean you get rid of education taxes and put user fees in instead?
Well, we don't refer to user fees, actually. What we're saying is that parents should choose the school that they think is right for their child, both in terms of curriculum, location, teachers, that kind of thing, and then pay the school directly. Now, if they lack the funds they need to make that choice, then of course they should be getting financial assistance from the government.
So this means presumably they could, if they wanted to send their kids to a private school, they go to private school, they pay it out of their own pocket. If they want to go to public school, they pay for it out of their own pocket?
Correct. So there's a difference between who sets curriculum and who pays. And we're saying in terms of the payment, it should always be directly from the parent. But obviously the government could continue to run public schools and set a common curriculum for the province.
People think education is quote-unquote free right now. We pay for it through our taxes. So why would they want to pay for something that they now think they're getting for free?
Well, of course, their taxes would be decreased, first of all. The other thing is that the cost of a typical child's education in Ontario right now is about $7,500. If you go to, for example, London, Ontario's Montessori schools, you're probably going to be paying about $5,500 per student, much less. And there are also lower rates for multiple children from a single family, so actually there would be a savings overall.
Can you maintain an equal across-the-board quality of education with this kind of a system?
I'm not sure in terms of quality, of course, because competition always breeds quality. If you don't like the school performance, you would, of course, go to a better school. In terms of sameness, that's what we're trying to get away from. If your child would benefit from a Jewish education, from a musical education, from a education that's math-oriented or what have you, we think you should have that option to focus on those extra curriculum specialties, if you will.
Okay.